Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today I'm going to be walking you through my ultimate cord cutter's guide for 2018. I suppose the first thing that we should get out of the way starting off the video is, what is a cord cutter? Well, a cord cutter is pretty much someone who chooses to get rid of their cable TV service package in hopes of saving money so that they can have a much more tailored experience as far as to what media they consume and also how they consume it, because with a cable TV service package, you're more than likely paying for hundreds or even 1,000 or more channels that you're never going to use, and it can be very expensive. I know before we got rid of our cable TV here in this house, we were paying around $200 to have cable TV as well as internet. We didn't have a home phone included in that because pretty much everyone has cell phones now and we just don't have a home phone at all. So that was just cable and internet. We were paying a little bit over $200 with all of the rental fees and everything incorporated into that. Once we got rid of our cable TV, we were cut down to just $70 for a very fast internet package, which is where we're going to start off with this, because once you get rid of your cable, chances are you're going to have a little bit more in your budget that you can dedicate to other things like getting a faster internet package as long as they are available in your area. I'm well aware that something like 21% of America still is without broadband internet, which is classified as anything 25 megabit per second and upwards. So if you are unfortunate enough to not live in one of those areas, you may have to kind of look at things and see if it's really going to be worth it for you if you have really slow internet. For something like Netflix or Hulu, if you're trying to watch in 1080p, 10 megabit per second should be perfectly fine. If you're wanting to get into more like Ultra HD and 4K TV packages, you're looking at 15 to 25 megabit per second. At least that's what's recommended by Amazon and Netflix respectively, who both have their own forms of Ultra HD streaming services. So basically what I would recommend for a TV package is I would look at 10 to 25 megabit per second as a starting point if you're wanting to do 1080p. If you want to do 4K, I would say 25 megabit per second is probably going to be okay. If you have the option though, with your ISP and it's not going to cost you a total arm and a leg, try to get somewhere between 25 and 100 and you should really be golden, as then you'll be set up for streaming on multiple devices at once. Obviously, if you have a bigger family and you're going to have more people connected over the Wi-Fi on tablets, gaming devices, or possibly even streaming Netflix or Hulu on 1 to 2 televisions at the same time, you're going to want to get a little bit more bandwidth, as it can fill up pretty quickly if you've got multiple people in the house trying to run different streaming services all at the same time. I personally have a 250 megabit per second download speed with Comcast, which I don't like Comcast. I don't promote Comcast. It's just unfortunate enough that that is the only high-speed internet provider in my area, as Verizon on my street where I currently live is just awful. And I'm just waiting to get better Fios packages available in my area from Verizon so that I can get fast symmetrical internet like I had at my previous address. So I'm kind of stuck with Comcast right now. And chances are there are a lot of you out there that are not going to have options as far as ISPs are concerned. So definitely an option to weigh, but I would say cutting the cable and switching over to just internet, it's at least worth investigating and see if there's an affordable option for you to upgrade your internet and get a faster speed than what you maybe currently have. If you've already got high-speed internet, 25 megabit per second and upward, then you already are golden, unless you just want to upgrade it because you can now, because you're saving so much money getting rid of the cable. Then definitely go ahead and look at that. Now, if you're not planning to take advantage of streaming services via your smart TV or an external device of some sort, then you can go the route of getting yourself an HD TV antenna, which you can find on Amazon from anywhere from $20 to $100, depending on the range that you need from the device, or if it's an indoor versus outdoor. Obviously, the easiest ones that are going to be able to use are the indoor ones, which you just get and set up and plug it right into the back of your television via the coax in. So that's your antenna input, and you can just start streaming TV shows right from that device completely free, because there are antennas scattered all about the country that are transmitting HD TV shows for these antennas. And this isn't like the old school like rabbit ears on top of the TV. These are usually very discreet devices that you can put in your living room that can fit in with your decor, and you can watch your favorite TV shows and the news and local sports from CBS, Fox, NBC, ABC, the CW, all of those basic TV channels that you would expect to have. You will be able to get over the HD TV antenna, as long as one is within proximity of where you live. If you go over on the website No Cable, which I will link down in the description below, you could bring up a map of your current area and you could see where antennas are around you, the distance of the antennas, and what type of channels you can expect to get at your exact location. And this will vary based on where you live. If you're in a much more rural area, which is not likely to have as many antennas, you're probably going to have a very limited selection of channels. Whereas if you're someone like me who lives within 30 to 50 miles of New York City, you're going to have a lot of options and you'll be able to get good quality HD streams. So it's really going to vary depending on your area. But if you want to check out the map on No Cable, I'm going to have that link down in the description so you can see what is available in your area if you want to explore the option of using an HD TV antenna. If you don't want to go the HD TV antenna route and you do want to take advantage of streaming apps, which will probably be the vast majority of you, there are some recommended apps out there that I would suggest starting off with. Netflix is probably going to be the first and most common one that many people probably already have and have been consuming for a number of years, either through their TV or their tablets, phones, what have you. So Netflix is obviously going to be a big one. They've got lots of movies and original programming on there, and that for a lot of people could be just enough. If you don't watch a lot of television and you are just concerned with watching Netflix original programming like Orange is the New Black, Black Mirror, Stranger Things, which are some shows that I like to watch on Netflix, then you might be able to get away with just having Netflix if you don't need to have a live TV service. For live TV, you do also have a couple options as well. You have Sling, which is probably one of the most well-known live TV packages, which you can get you can get one for like $20, you can get a $40 option. It really depends on what kind of channels that you want to be included along with that, but that's nice that you can at least tailor that option for you. I had previously had the Sling $40 package, which includes pretty much every one of their channels besides some premium ones, and it was a good service. I didn't have a problem with the interface or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I ended up switching over to Hulu Live TV because I was already paying, I believe, $14 a month for Hulu for their no commercial package, which is basically just a streaming service like Netflix with original programming as well as a library of movies and TV shows, which are updated usually right away after the shows air. The very next day, you'll be able to find those shows over on the Hulu streaming service. But in the past year or so, they added on a live TV option, which brought my bill for Hulu up to $44 a month. So I thought that was a better deal, as I was paying $40 a month already for Sling, and then another $14 for Hulu Live, for just Hulu without the live TV. So only adding on an extra $30 to that was better than having the Sling with $40. And also the Hulu Live TV had CBS, which is something that I wanted so that I could watch local sports things that were on the local CBS channel here for some football games and things along those lines. So that is why I ended up going with Hulu Live TV at the end of the day. Amazon Prime is another one. If you already have Amazon Prime, then you already have access to this type of programming. You just have to you can go to the website, you can use your streaming device or whatever, and you could watch Amazon movies and original programming on there as well. Other ones on top of that I would probably recommend that I have subscribed to are HBO and Showtime, but these are definitely going to be your more premium packages. I believe both of them are $15 a month each, so that is definitely going to ramp up your cost. But the nice thing about it is it's just a monthly fee, and if you only want it for like one thing, like let's say you just want to watch Game of Thrones on HBO, which could be a lot of you out there, you can get the HBO package for just the months that HBO is running the Game of Thrones series, or you can wait until the whole season is over if you can stay away from the spoilers, and then you can just binge watch it all in a week and then cancel the service, whatever you want to do. I leave it active pretty much all year round, so it's there though. If the option is if you just want to have it for those few months while Game of Thrones is running, then you could do that and then cancel it for the rest of the year so that you're not paying $15 a month for 9 months that you're not going to be able to utilize the service for any of the other programming on HBO. And chances are your smart TV may already have a lot or even all of these apps built right into it. If you're using a more high-end smart TV, they'll probably have things like Netflix on there. You might be able to get Hulu, Amazon, Sling, what have you, will probably be built into your TV. But if you're using a maybe a little bit older HD TV or something like I'm using, which is a Hisense 4K TV, which doesn't have a ton of apps built into it. It only has Netflix, Amazon, and then it has like Vudu and YouTube. I do use the YouTube, Amazon, and Netflix on there, which all work in 4K, which is very nice. But for the other services that I want to consume, like HBO, the Hulu Live TV and everything, I needed to get a dedicated external device. Now, if you already have something like a game console or maybe a Blu-ray player, those could work for streaming devices as well. But if you don't have those, then you can go the route of getting something like a Roku or an Amazon Fire Stick, which is what I use. I have Amazon Fire Sticks and every single TV in my house so that I can run all of these apps and multiple people can watch them all at once. It's a beautiful thing. Outside of using all of the streaming apps and the HD TV antenna, there are some other ways that you could be able to consume content as well. One would be right off of a laptop. If you have a laptop with an HDMI output, then you could run that directly to your TV to watch movies and TV shows right from your laptop. If you have some programming already downloaded 100% legally onto your laptop, then you could run that directly to your television. Or if you didn't have a streaming device like a Roku or a Fire Stick and you can't afford to go out and get one, but you do have a laptop and an HDMI cable, you can run those apps right from your web browser or from the Windows Store apps directly to your TV as well, which would help you if you are in a pinch, like I said, and you don't happen to have the money to pick up a streaming device and maybe your television doesn't support those applications. It is one way that you could go. And lastly would be just USB thumb drives. I can't tell you how many movies and TV shows we watch in this house directly off of USB thumb drives, which are 110% legally acquired all of the time. I assure you, believe me, okay? Trust me, I get them from Velvet Blu-rays. You know those things that come with the DVD, the Blu-ray, you install it on the computer, and then you watch it with the USB, okay? It's huge, it's tremendous, maybe the biggest. But in all seriousness, you can definitely watch stuff off of USBs on your television as long as it has a USB input. Some older HD TVs might only have a service USB jack, so just check the back of your TV. You might have multiple USB inputs, like my TV does. We have one service USB jack, which you can use for firmware updates if you don't have it connected over the internet, but we've also got two other USB inputs, which I can put multiple USB sticks in, and then I could watch movies and TV shows right off of the USB with all of my legally acquired movies and TV shows, 110% legally acquired. So that's another route you can go if you don't want to hook up the laptop. It's a lot more convenient, certainly, than hooking up a laptop. In years past, I remember when I used to live back down in Florida, that was actually something I used to do. I would hook up a laptop right to the TV and be able to watch movies, but once we got like a TV that supported USB, that was a much easier route to just be able to copy it over to that as opposed to doing the laptop or burning a DVD, which was done even years before that. So yeah, just there's lots of routes out there to be able to get programming onto your television outside of those traditional streaming apps, which are going to add to your total cost. But still, overall, at the end of the day, with all the TV services added on, it's still going to be less than paying for cable, and more importantly, you're getting a more tailored experience. You can choose when you want to watch stuff anytime whatsoever. The Hulu Live TV even has a DVR built into it. You can get extra storage if you want to pay more for it, but overall, I am very pleased with our service here. My girlfriend is pleased with it as well. She doesn't miss having cable TV at all, and when I moved in here, she was interested in trying to get rid of the cable and see how it worked for her, and now she wouldn't have it any other way. She loves being able to just have all of her shows right there on Hulu at the end of a work week, so she can just binge watch them over the weekend without having to worry about the DVR on the TV or anything. Everything is pretty much just there and ready to go to watch whenever we want it, which is really one of the best things about cutting the cord, is just the on-demand nature of it. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. If there's any questions that I didn't happen to answer in this video, please let me know down in the comments below, and I'll try to respond to as many of them as I can. If we want to do a follow-up video in the future, maybe that's something we can look at as well, if there's some other information that I didn't provide in this video, although I think we covered pretty much all of our bases. Another thing I could just briefly mention is Kodi, which I've talked about in the past. This is a way of streaming live TV and movie shows on your TV, which you can do over a number of devices. You can use a Fire Stick for it as well if you jailbreak it. So I might look at doing a dedicated video in the future just on Kodi and the installation guide for that. But there are so many videos and articles already on it that I'm not really, it'd be kind of like throwing a drop of water into the ocean. So that information is really out there on Kodi if you want to go and find it. But if you want to see me do a dedicated video on Kodi and getting that all set up and apps and everything, or add-ons I should say, for Kodi, then let me know in the comments, and that's something we could definitely look at. But as I said, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys all are having a very happy new year and enjoying 2018 thus far. I will see you guys later in the week for many more videos, and well, really throughout the year. It's going to be an awesome year. I'm going to CES next week. awesome. So yeah, I will catch you guys in the next video. Turn up.